All right. Let's see if this camera will stay on this soccer goal tripod. Okay, so my name is Evan Strong. Today is the 4th of October, 2024. I am the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, a clothing company that is so much more than just a clothing company, right? We are called In the Image because we are all universally designed in the image of our living God, who is Jesus Christ. So we talk about the skeletal system here, right? We always talk about universal truths, and that's how we can do it in the way that we do is because we talk about the skeletal system, right? And so the things that we talk about do apply to every human across the globe, right? We recognize our very slight differences, or maybe quite major differences, if and when, and we address them if and when needed. Like surgeries, deformities, injuries, whatever it is, amputations. If you've got something different within your body, then okay, right? You do, and we address those if and when needed. But we are universally designed, okay? So I have had a few prerequisites that I have had since before I founded In the Image Clothing Company. I was just making videos on my own, and I found these things to be what all humans need just to allow the body to have a chance to function natural, right? Because that's our whole goal, our whole intent is getting our bodies back to how they were designed before we came into this world and got altered by worldly things outside of ourselves. And clothing is the only thing physically placed directly on us at all times, so it's the only thing that has the potential and does physically alter our bodies if imbalanced or unnatural. Okay, so the prerequisites that we have here at In the Image Clothing Company are to lace your shoes with the technique found where you find In the Image Clothing Company, right? You can look us up on the internet and you will find us. That technique paired with just tying your shoes evenly, right? Just over toward the inside on both sides to reinforce that natural internal rotation traveling up. And it's not really only to reinforce it. I word it that way, but really it's the only way you're going to have your body be able to go straight on a vertical globe, meaning just a earth pulling us directly straight down with gravity. We need to stay centered, okay? Or we would either fall over or use excess stabilizing muscles within the body to do things they aren't even designed to do, and we'd get sore and stuff, right? And those are some claims that we make that are true. We speak on universal truths here at In the Image Clothing Company. We should not have to stretch, okay? Unless something very major happens, we shouldn't have to, but we just need to stop restricting our bodies through the clothing that we wear. And I also say we shouldn't have to work out or exercise to get up to a certain capability level, because the body, within our own situations, right, is designed to just work, okay? So it's just being altered and restricted, as mine was for so many years. And a lot of times we're just unaware of it, okay? So in this video, what I'm going to talk about are hats, okay? I know that this shirt is not how I would normally wear shirts, but I just filmed right before this a video wearing this shirt on how arm cuffs, right? The sleeves of your tops affect your entire body, right? They affect your body's ability to just do its natural thing, and I went into it in very great depth. You can find that where you find In the Image Clothing Company, but I just kind of left it on for this video. Yesterday I went to the thrift store and I bought this nice 100% cotton beanie, right? And then I bought this shirt also, which I mentioned in that video that I just made about this shirt's sleeve length, that I might end up just donating this. I might not even actually wear it. I bought it intending to wear it, but a lot of times I buy things kind of with both things in mind. Either I'll just use it for a video, right? Or I'll do that, but then also wear it. So I might just not even keep this shirt. So I just kind of want to address the fact that it's kind of not quite how I would normally wear shirts, right? But what I do want to talk about is hats, because shoot, we're gonna keep it rolling, but I didn't finish my prerequisites. The lacing technique, right, with tying them even, paired with removing the tags from the tongues of your shoes up through the entirety of all the clothing that you wear. And I have made videos on those tags and their locations, where they're placed in modern 2024 within clothing, right? And what they do universally to all humans. It does stuff to the body. It actually really does. I don't mean that in a casual way. Like, it really affects the way that your body works, right? That's why I say the prerequisites are just to allow the body to have a chance to function naturally. Okay, we cannot tell our bodies what to do. I always say you can try to do that all you want, think that you are, and then have fun with your foam roller and your stretching routines. Or just leave your body in its only neutral, functioning, working position and go through life from there, like within your own situation, right? So that's our goal here at In The Image Clothing Company. But the reason I'm going to talk about hats is because if, being one of the prerequisites, if there is a tag in your hat, usually there's a tag like on the side. Now, this is a beanie, and a lot of times they're stitched up in the top, but like inside, right? But either way, wherever it is on the hat, if there is a tag up there, it's doing the same thing that a tag is doing within any other item of clothing that you wear at all. Even if that tag is made out of 100% cotton, let's say, which is rarely the case. But even if it is, then it's causing an unnatural gap. And even if it is the same material, like this hat's cotton, let's say the tag that was in here was also cotton, it's different, right? This is like a very thickly woven type of grippy, textury feel. I did a video one time on called how the body likes texture, right? And talked about how the body loves texture. And that's a big reason why synthetic tags really don't mesh with the body being natural, because they are synthetic, right? But yeah, if you have a tag within the hat anywhere, it's, especially this hat for the example, it's very grippy, right? Very textured. But then wherever that tag is within the hat, that's a lot more slippery. Okay. Now we have a lot of muscles within the head. We don't really think about that very often, but even just between the skin and the actual skull, right, that very thin layer, there's little thin muscles all over the head, right? I can wiggle my ears. A lot of people can wiggle their ears. You can kind of you can raise your eyebrows. I mean, that's muscles up here, doing things that are in your actual, head. So all throughout, you actually do have muscles, right? Between your skull, the actual bone of your skull that encapsulates your brain, right? And then the skin on this surface, even though it's very thin, there are muscles all throughout. So those muscles can actually really affect things traveling down, right? The body can all affect itself in any kind of direction, right? It's not just because we're on gravity, the foundations, it's not like the foundation is the only important thing and it travels up. I mean, that's the most important, yes, because we do live on gravity. We live on an earth with gravity, but I feel weird in this outfit. But yeah, I mean, if you have a tag within your hat, okay, let's picture a snapback. It'll happen within anything, but a snapback's a very good visual, because within a snapback, just like a hat that has the adjustment on the back, right, the little strap thing, and then it's got the bill in the front. There's usually a tag right here, right? But snapback would sit more on top of your ears, and so that tag is going to be right here. Now, my hair is going to look how it's going to look, and my outfit's already kind of matching that, so we're just gonna roll with it. But when I'm wiggling my ears, I can actually feel the muscles right here moving, okay? So if I were to be wearing a snapback and it would sit right here, right on top of my ears, and there's a tag right where those muscles are, if I'm doing anything, those muscles are doing something. And the body's always doing something if you're alive, right? As much of it as you have. I mean, if you don't have an arm, that's fine. If you don't have a leg, that's fine. But as much of the body that you do have, if it's there and it's like alive, it's doing something at all times, right? I mean, even because I talk about even breathing requires the entire body to do something, whether it's either stabilizing or kind of accommodating for expansion of the rib cage or whatever it is through the whole body. It's doing something. So these muscles up here, like if you're gonna reach to do something, right, you're going to kind of like, your body's going to move as a whole just to reach. And so these muscles actually will be doing something, right? And so if you have a really slippery synthetic tag, like picture this as a snapback for what I'm saying right here. You have a really slippery synthetic tag right in here and not on this side, well, that's imbalanced on a centered human on a vertical gravity Earth, right? So yeah, what'll happen is those muscles will potentially get, and they do get pretty like altered the way that they work, and they get bound up and different. And so now that actually plays into like your neck position, and now we're getting really into things that affect the entire body, right? Because if your neck gets altered at all, your neck is the same thing as your hips, right? I mean, your spine is all one from the very base of your skull to your tailbone. So if your neck's altered, it twists your spine all the way down. And so now your shoulders are twisted, your pelvis is twisted, your legs are twisted, your feet are different, your arches now are doing different things or just not even able to activate at all. Everything is altered because of a little tag within the hat, okay? So that's tags, and that'll go for any location, right? If it's on this side, or if it's on this side, or if it's like this one was more up in the top before I took it out, right? Prerequisite. Yeah, and then if you have any kind of like logo tag type thing on, the reason I say that and show it like this is because there was on this, but I debranded this as well. I'm also just, I'm very minimal, right? So yeah, that could be like right here on where your eyebrows are raising, right? And now if you have like something that's just a different feel, like I said, it kind of doesn't even matter the material necessarily because it's different. A little tag like that, even if it's the same material as the hat, it's going to feel different because it's woven different and stuff. And so now when you're doing anything, not just intentionally raising your eyebrows, but again, your body's just always doing stuff, right? And so these muscles are going to react differently. Well, even this, like I'm looking up at the sun, well, just looking over here and the sun's kind of in my eyes and I'm squinting. If there's something more slippery here than over here, now I'm going to kind of be doing this and training a patterning, right? And then going through life kind of uneven, right? Just picturing how I look. The soccer goalpost is actually right in front of the screen, so I can't see right now, but it's probably quite a funny video. But anyway, so that's tags. Anywhere within a hat, same thing. They'll do the same things to like the body and the sensory nervous system and the muscle activation. They'll do the same thing here as they would where tags are placed like anywhere else within clothing, right? It's just a different part of your body, but your body will react to the tag the same way no matter where it's placed, right? Somebody's drifting over there. But yeah, so that's the tag within a hat. But then as I was discussing a snapback, the material around it, a lot of snapbacks are just synthetic material anyway, and that's, like I say, it's not always so terrible to be within synthetic materials if and when and stuff, but ideally we are within 100% natural materials at all times. I'm never going to be perfect at that, and maybe somebody's going to try their best to be, but the point is, like, that's just our goal, right? Because the body is natural, and so we need to mesh it with natural materials, right? It just doesn't like to have chemically made plastic on it, right? Acrylic and polyester and just all these plasticky materials. It doesn't like that. It wants natural because it's natural. So within a snapback though, if that back part the reason they call it a snapback is because there's those little snappy things that are on the back, right? That's why it's called a snapback, as far as I know. So that's plastic a lot of the time. And now, where that's placed is right at the base of your skull, and you can feel back there on the base of your own skull, on the sides of your neck, really where like your upper traps come up and in, right, on both sides. Right where those upper traps come in and like meet the base of your skull, you can feel there's like muscles right there first of all, but then there's also that bone of really, I mean, it's really just your skull, but the very base of it, if your plastic snapback is sitting right there where the connection of your traps and like all the muscles within everything back here are like coming up and meeting the base of your skull, right? I mean, that's your brain stem, right? Is right on the very back. Your spine, your brain stem feeds into your spinal cord, and within your spine, that's where your nervous system stems out from, right? Nervous system meaning like sense of touch, right? So the way that your body sensory-wise notices what's going on with clothing, I mean, it doesn't only react to it sensory-wise, because also, I mean, there's just many things, right? And I've talked about how the body really reacts with clothing, but the point is, yeah, that's all, that plasticky band is right at the base of your skull, right where all that's happening. And also just any movement of the head, you have material all the way around the band of the hat, snapback in this case, right, with the plastic thing on the back, the material all the way around the band of the head until you reach where that snapback piece would be is the same. But then right where the muscles are moving the head, right, and twisting and pivoting and rotating, doing all the things that the neck and the head does, right where that is different than everywhere else within the hat. And not only that, but it's plastic, right? So that's really affecting your neck. It's really affecting all the muscles everywhere up here. And then if it's affecting your neck, it's affecting your jaw. Your jaw is trying to stabilize the entirety of the body. That's just one of its things that it does. I mean, that's what the jaw does, really, besides also chewing and allowing it to speak. The jaw stabilizes the entire body. And I've done quite a few videos on the jaw. I did one on how the jaw affects the entire body. I did one called How Dental Work Affects Body Mechanics. I did one called How Eating Affects Body Mechanics, right? So the jaw's getting affected by that, and just everything. Okay, so that's within a snapback. But then it's a similar thing around the front, because from where the edges of that plastic like snapback part on the back are up toward where you hit the bill of the hat, this span right here of material and this span is pretty much the same, besides that tag, right, if you have a tag in there. But then once you get to the bill of the hat, now there's a gap a little bit, kind of like right here, right, where the bill meets the hat material, and that'll be like pretty much right on your temples. And so, I mean, these muscles are also doing a lot, and if that's different there than here, but then also than here, and then also than here, your head, which does so much, really, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on that we don't really notice very much within our bodies all the time. So that's just trying to react to all that discrepancy within something placed on it, right? So yes, and then just the angle, right? I mean, if I were to have my hat like this, I mean, it gets obvious when it gets like really different, but now my shoulders are external and my neck is excessively round, and again, the jaw is affected, the back, the pelvis, but then it goes all the way to the feet and it changes what the arches are doing. But then if it's all the way this way, now you're excessively trying to be like internal, and the jaw is affected and everything else, but now your core is like deactivated, but in a completely different way. So hats actually do a lot to the body, and we need to just, as we do with any other item of clothing, and that's what we do here at In The Image Clothing Company, is show how to do that. We just need to allow the hat, just like I said, just like anything else we do wear, to just sit on the body and just in a neutral position in all ways, to where the body can still just be the body and still just do its thing, right? Without being altered, ideally at all, but just to the least, that we can get it. Okay, all right. So that's what I'm gonna say about hats. And then anything else that just, is altering that you can notice, that applies as well. And that's just, it's just kind of, here you go, shining light as we do on what's happening, universal truths here at In the Image Clothing Company, okay? To all humans across the entirety of the earth, these things do and will happen always. Human beings do not change. We were designed and created by and in the image of our living God, who is Jesus Christ, and he is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So we don't change either, but the world around us does, to a degree and in ways, right? And so the things that we do wear, we just, right, we can be a lot more aware than we have been, right? And I didn't know like any of this pretty much, right? For just, a while back. So we're sharing information, free universal truths here at In the Image Clothing Company. So yeah, there's hats, okay? We do have In the Image Clothing Company podcast. It's been awesome. It's been great. I've said many times that out of all the things that we do here, that's going to be one of the things that I personally, being the founder, get the most enjoyment out of, because it's beautiful to be able to just talk and ramble and just kind of go off the top and just not have to necessarily stick to a topic like I do within these videos. Not that that's wrong, but then within that it can be a really, much longer, it's a podcast. I mean, we can just talk and we can just have just kind of let it go wherever it needs to go, and whatever comes up can just be said, and it can just very raw, real, authentic, right? We are centered around the gospel of Jesus Christ here at In the Image Clothing Company, just like everything is, because he created it all and us, right? So sometimes, maybe even a lot of times within the podcast episodes, individual episodes might just be only on discussions about the gospel of Jesus Christ, and we might not even mention clothing within certain episodes, right? Maybe. So yes, we do have that. We will have clothing available to purchase. We will always, within In the Image Clothing Company clothing, incorporate within our designs pants sitting above the hips entirely, slightly higher in the front than in the rear, and the shoulder seams on top will sit behind the shoulders, and the ones at the edges will be right at the very edges. So if you do ever purchase In the Image Clothing Company clothing, just please try your best to purchase it in your size, because that's the whole intent of us, doing what we do. But yes, we'll never have any kind of tags protruding from the inside. We're never going to have any kind of logoing or branding on the exterior of our clothing at all. On the inside, we'll definitely have it, but we're just not trying to be showy about our company. We're trying to spread universal truth about how we did not design our bodies, and so we're just trying to get them back to the way that our God designed them before they got altered through the world and worldly things, right? So, yes. All right, like I said, it's the 4th of October, 2024. It's now fall, right? And that's why we're doing stuff like this, changing it up a little bit, meaning just, the attire that we wear, we're going to wear things that are going to keep us warmer, because our body temperatures don't change, right? But the seasons and the weather around us does. So, like I said, my name is Evan Strong. I am the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. Check us out. You can find us anywhere that you can find us, meaning there's the internet nowadays. You can find us. So thank you. Be aware of what your hats are doing to your body, and by that I mean within what you've learned in this video, you will now know. A lot of times at work, you'll have a hat as a uniform, if you will. A lot of people just wear hats almost always, no matter what. If you're rarely wearing a hat, or if you're wearing it every day, how often you wear it really will affect the amount of effect that it has on your body. But regardless, just it's good to be aware of what it's doing to your body that you don't have a say over. I don't either, right? We cannot tell our bodies what to do, and that's a prime example. Okay, all right, thank you. Check us out. Yeah, if there's anything else I didn't mention about hats, then there might have been, okay? Because don't really talk about hats. I haven't at all within In the Image Clothing Company content up until this. And I just haven't worn hats in a long time. But I did. I mean, I used to wear hats all the time. Oh, I have talked about too, though, I did a video on the ears, right? On how clothing affects the ears. But I wasn't even talking about anything actually touching the ears. I was talking about just clothing from like the neck down, but how it affects the position of the ears and the tension and stuff, right? Within the jaw, within the muscles coming up and everything. But anyway, yeah, I mean, this is actually physically on my ears, right? So it could affect them very much, potentially, right? So we just, again, be aware. But then also, if you're tucking your hair, I've had hair like down to here, so I can speak on long hair out of experience. But if you're tucking your hair behind your ears, I talked about that within that video on how clothing affects the ears. But then if you're putting a hat on top of that, because like a lot of times people will get like a hat, tuck their hair back behind their ears, and then put the hat on over it. Now you're altering the way that your ears are working even more. And right, I mean, to a degree, and certain durations and whatever stuff, you know, we can do things in certain cases. But again, if you're like doing that every single day, you can go watch my video on how clothing affects the ears and get more context on what the ears really do to the entire body, right? And so just things to be aware of like that. Okay, all right, thank you.